Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Movie Garage podcast and Movie Garage video, obviously, if you're watching us here. We're on episode 6 now, so we still managed to keep it going all right. I'm Jay, and this is Gaz. How's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Still hanging in. What
Yeah.
about you?
Shit, back at work. I noticed a bit of a
Work.
Yeah. I was a bit of a change of scenery. I'm in a hotel in London at the minute because I'm working down there for 3 days. Got absolutely piss wet through today as well. It was horrible.
It has been horrible today. That absolutely sucks.
Yeah, it really, really does. It's been absolutely. I was just saying, though, I'm really digging this chair. It looks ace. It's like a proper spinny round evil genius chair. I was going to start with my back to the camera and then spin in.
A bit like the voice.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Boville. That's what it reminds me of. It's the fucking voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a bit too close to the table now because I'm trying to set it up in this place with all the light and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, so still exactly the same as usual then? No news for you?
No news for me. I mean, they'll be filtering people back in, but it's I have no idea when the call's going to come, to be honest with you. And so I'm technically what they've done is and it's still on furlough now. We're technically on holiday this week.
Right, bloody hell.
So we've been made to use our holiday this week. So it stops a ton of people turning back in and just piling in holiday request forms.
Yeah, of course.
For the end of the year. So
Jesus.
So there'll be no call this week because, like I said, that's
You've been booked off.
That's the way it is. I'm on holiday officially. So, and that's it. So, no, just have to wait and see.
Brilliant. Yeah, sounds good. With me, like last Thursday, which was, I think it was the day after we recorded the last show, wasn't it? I got an email on the Thursday afternoon, and then Monday I was just straight back at it again. And it's weird, like going out, because we've obviously been just sat in the house for the past, I think I was 2.5 months on furlough. Getting back into it, you expect it to be like weird and different and really uncomfortable and horrible, but 90% of the stuff is the same as usual. Which is like the creepy thing about it. Everybody's just getting on with it exactly the same as normal.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. Even when you're off, and you're going into shops and stuff,
or
you're walking about.
Yeah, if you've gone shopping.
It does kind of feel like people are getting back to a bit more normality. So.
There's been a couple of changes. Like, so one of the places that I'm working, whenever you go inside the actual building, so obviously most of my work takes place on the vans and the cars and stuff like that. So I'm always out in the car park. When you go into the actual building, they're making you wear a mask. That's the only thing that's different. The hotel that I'm staying at, they're not doing like a proper evening meal service. So you don't go down and sit in a restaurant by yourself looking like a loser like I normally do. They're doing like takeout stuff. So you go down, you order it at the desk, and then you pay, and then come back up to your room, and then they give you a call, and then you go down, and then they come and they give you like a nice little bag with your evening meal in, and it's got like just cute little boxes of food in for you to eat from, with like a wooden knife and fork, and then you just chuck it all in a bin. So
that's one thing. That's one thing with your job. I never thought about how hotels would work.
No, that's it. That's always been the big trouble. I thought I was going to be like screwed for another couple of months yet, because obviously we go around to different places of work, so we're contractors. So it's literally they're inviting a new person onto site every time, which I thought people would be really dodgy about. Most of them are all right, because obviously we need to do our bit before they can send the vans out. And then hotels as well. A couple of the big chains have opened up. As long as you're classed as like an essential worker or supporting essential workers, which is what we're classed as, it's you're all right with it. I was expecting to get like the 3rd degree when I checked in here, but the girl was all right. She was just like, yeah, all right, fair enough. I think everybody understands now. If you are booking a hotel, you need to be in a hotel.
Yeah, so absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Aye, fun times. Right, should we get into a little bit of news then? So again, it's slow as hell at the minute, isn't it? It's been really, really quiet. Excuse me.
Yeah.
One thing that did come out the other day, I don't know whether you managed to get round to watching it or not, is the latest Bill and Ted trailer came out. Did you have a look at that when we shared it the other day?
I watched it. Because do you know what? It's been that long. Like, I can't even remember the
Yeah,
old films
yeah.
by a few little bits.
Mm.
So when I watched it, I kind of went, "Oh yeah, this is." It was only a bit of like I just felt a bit. I can't say the word, but it felt like it was taking me back in time a little bit,
Yeah.
and it looked cool. It kind of looked like what I kind of remember like of the film. What did you think of the trailer?
I actually really enjoyed it. A lot of people are a little bit worried that just looking some stuff up. Yeah, right, cool. Um, yeah, a little bit. People are still a bit worried that obviously, like the first two movies were basically a couple of stoners, weren't they? They never actually got stoned, but a couple of stoners going about being
Yeah,
all
that's right.
stonery and ridiculous. A lot of people are worried that that's not going to work now that they're a little bit older. But from trailer, it looked really, really good. I'm kind of into it. Like, honestly, I actually can't wait. It kind of really cheered me up when that advert came out.
It's proper down your street though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
This kind of film's right down your street. I was kind of give or take with Bill and Ted. It didn't. It was all kind of okay for me, and that was a bit it. And that's kind of like I've probably not watched it since. And
Yeah,
that's why I can't remember much of the actual original.
yeah,
There's done two beforehand.
yeah. There was two. There was
That's
Bill and
right.
Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then there was Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and then I think there was a
Yeah,
cartoon as well, which
there
were
was
like,
a yeah. I was probably more into the cartoon.
yeah, yeah.
I do remember the cartoon.
Yeah, so anybody like who's not familiar with the plot or anything along those lines, like the original two were like late 80s, early 90s. I think they were early 90s. I can't remember 100%. Um, it turns out that Bill and Ted are destined to save the world with their band called Wild Stallions, and it starts off and they're just absolute shite musicians. So a guy comes back from the future to put their past and make back on course and make sure that they can get to a point where they save the world. The first movie, they've got to do a presentation, a history presentation. So he gives them a time machine, which is like an old phone box, which is like a proper, obviously, a Doctor Who rip-off or nod, however you want to look at it. And then they go back
Yeah,
in time, collecting all historical figures, and then take them to do a big presentation at the end in front of the whole school, which is it's just absolutely brilliant. Um,
it,
yeah, sorry,
the
go
whole time travel stuff is all
on.
kind of Doctor Who kind of stuff, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah, yeah. Because this is like, whereas I think like the comedy element of it comes where Doctor Who goes into the TARDIS, which obviously looks like a phone box, and it's huge on the inside. This is just a phone box.
Yeah,
So the two of them just cram into a phone box. And at one point, I think there's about 8 of them in it, and it's on its side, and the doors are open, and it's going like a boat. But it's really, really good. But and then in the second movie, Bogus Journey, they end up dying. Um, they get killed by evil replacements and then meet death, and then they challenge death to like a load of like, it's supposed to be like a very poetic, if you can beat death at any game ever, then you can go back to life. So obviously they're thinking about like ancient games and people playing them at chess and stuff like that. I think they choose Twister and, and a
yeah,
lot of other daft shit, and they end up
yeah.
winning and then getting to go back to life.
The more you're talking about it, the more it kind of comes back to about playing the old games and
Yeah.
kind of stuff like that.
Mm.
Probably something you know what? Because the trailer and because it's like hype over this new film,
Yeah.
you kind of get that a lot, don't you? When there's an old film from years ago kind of brought
Making a bit of a
back,
comeback.
you get so much hype. I feel like I'm going to have to go back and watch the other two now.
Yeah,
Just
you definitely should. They've aged a bit, but I think they still work all right. And it is
yeah,
so Keanu Reeves plays Bill, and Ted is played by a guy called Alex Winter, who hasn't really done that much. I think the reason why there wasn't a third one is because they had a falling out. I'm not 100% sure on the details, but they seem to have got back together now and are quite happy with it. The one upsetting thing is their mentor, the guy who gave him the time machine, is a guy called Rufus, and he was played by a comedian called George Carlin. Unfortunately, he's passed away since then, so he's not going to be able to reprise his role. And he was like really, really key to the whole thing, and he was absolutely brilliant in tying them both together. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get around that. Apparently, like the plot of this new one is they were supposed to change the world with their band. They never did. The song, which is supposed to strike a chord with everybody and cause world peace and to bring us into a new era of amazingness, never happened. So they're now going back to try and find out either what went wrong. I think they go to the future in the advert, don't they, to try and find out what song they should have written. And then they're going to steal it back for themselves. But I think they've also got daughters in this as well, which is going to be an interesting new element.
Yeah, that's it. Just puts a bit of a twist in it, and it keeps it quite relevant from the time frame that they've jumped to.
Yeah.
So it's 25 years, isn't it?
Yeah, a ridiculous amount of time. I think if they handle it like how we were saying about Bad Boys, I think if they handle it like that with a bit of dignity and like accept that they're now 25 years older and they actually play it as people who are 25 years older and they can't be the same characters.
Yeah, that was the one thing I liked about Bad Boys is that they did that really well. And you're right. I really hope they continue to do that. You know, I hope that that's the kind of thing, and they just accept the fact that they're no longer these young.
It could easily be like really, really annoying and really pathetic and really like. Did you watch Dumb and Dumber 2 when they did that?
Yeah.
That was pretty unwatchable. That for the exact reason.
Some parts were, some parts are quite. I get what you're saying, but it wasn't too bad. You know, it can go really, really bad if someone. I don't like the idea of them portraying like they were 20 years younger when they're clearly not. You know, so
right.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting actually to see how it all pans out. Really, the trailer did look good though. It did, like you said, it puts a smile to your face, and that's what the film all like. From what I remember, I wish it to do. So, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, damn right. If they get the chord right and they manage to, like we say, manage to accept that they're actually old men now, still trying to do the same kind of thing, I think they'll be all right. I think it'll be quite a good movie.
I've got to the point in life where I'm trying to accept that I'm an old man now.
Oh, it's shit, mate. Look at the fucking state of that. Look how grey that is now. Oh, it's gross. I need to shave it all off.
Dude, my fucking hairline. I'm like, it's quickly going. I may as well just shave it completely bald and just accept the fact that it's gone.
Started getting it in the beard now as well. That's it. Oh god. like with my hair, because normally I get like haircuts, but we can't at the minute. I thought, right, we'll go like really, really short. So I used to get a 3. I thought, right, I'll go down to a 2. Shouldn't be able to see it that much now. But then when you cut that grey bit there down to a 2, it looks like there's either nothing there, and then when it grows a little bit, it just looks like my head is shiny. So I can't win. It looks like I polished a bit of my head to the side. So. Right. I believe that you wanted to bring something up, which is a little bit on topic, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit on topic. So, like the actual real guy's name, I've completely forgot, but it's the dude from Flash that's been sacked.
Yeah,
he plays John Digby in the show, and he's I think the superhero names. Is it Elongated Man?
Is it Plastic Man?
No, it's not. I'm pretty sure the smartened it up and called him something like Elongated Man.
I'm not too sure. I'm really Flash at the minute.
So he's now been sacked. Now I kind of felt that this kind of stuff was going to happen.
Yeah,
and it's happened in the past in a lot of things where they've brought up tweets from his past that are racist and sexist. So like, I don't think it was hugely offensive, but I think with everything that's kind of going on, it only kind of takes like something that's, you can just misword something now,
Yeah, definitely.
and they've got no choice now to just jump on him. And it's a bit of a shame, really, that there's people out there digging through people's pasts,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because the guy's like you watch The Flash, and the guy's a really good character and a good part of it, and because of some stupid tweet that he's done a few years back, that it's kind of bit him in the ass a bit, and
yeah.
there's now
That was it. And obviously, if he still held those views, he wouldn't be on that show, would he? Because like 30-40% of that cast is black, at least. It's
yeah,
like one of the most ethnically diverse shows that's on TV at the minute, let alone in like all the superhero stuff and things.
yeah, absolutely, and they've been quite brave and powerful to put. There is a lot of black cast and superheroes. There is there's a black Flash in it.
Yeah, Wally West is.
Yeah, and the kind, like you said, one of the first shows to kind of do that. So, and the guy's meant to be like, he's meant to be it's like a bit of a top guy, a bit of a nice guy, and because of a few mistakes that he's done, because we've all done it, we've all said something that now will be classed as racist or sexist.
Yeah, that's done. I think there's kind of got to be a statute of limitations on some stuff, isn't there? Because there's stuff that you'd say that would be acceptable at the time that 5 years later becomes unacceptable, and then if someone goes back and has a look at it, they're like, well, hang on, he said that's not acceptable to say now, which is like, it's a really interesting debate. The same kind of thing happened to James Gunn, didn't it? Just before Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think that was about sexism or racism, was it? That was just about jokes, pretty obscene jokes that he put.
Yeah, that's right.
Latest guy that we're talking about is a guy called Harvey Sawyer.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not actually seeing like the tweets that he put out or anything like that, so I can't really comment on the stuff that he said. But it's kind of like, so obviously, like, people change. You can hold a view. I've known plenty of people that have held stupid views that are racist or sexist or homophobic, and after a bit of experience and a few years, they've completely changed their minds. But now with the way things are, social media, if you're going to put your opinion out there and shit like that, if you do change your mind on a subject, especially one that's as big and that's important as like racism or sexism or anything like that now, what you've got to do is you've got to make sure that you apologize for it, own that shit as much as possible, and then go back and fucking delete everything that you've said in the past. So make sure you
absolutely,
because there'll be a copy of it somewhere. So you've got to make sure you fucking own up to it, and you've got to make sure you apologize for it in the right way. And a lot of people seem to be forgetting that now. And shit like this, people that just, somebody probably would have got a tip from somewhere that he said some racist shit in the past, and then they've just gone on his Twitter and gone back through the whole thing, because it was a few years ago, wasn't it? I'm not too sure how long they said.
Yeah, it was a few. You're not digging back a load of years, but every single year things change. So certain words that are acceptable even a couple of years ago has changed now, where it's not acceptable.
Yeah,
and with everything kind of going on, like they're really getting right into these people, because there's no there didn't seem to be any kind of apology from the dude. They've just literally gone, you've gone.
Yeah, straight away. Yeah. I noticed that as well. So like with the James Gunn thing, you kind of heard his side of the story like pretty much straight away, and he gave like a bit of an explanation for it, and he gave like a very public apology. But like a lot of the stuff was out of context as well, which is another important thing. So like a lot of the stuff that had been pulled up was him replying to other people. So he'd like make a joke off the back of somebody else's comment, and what they'd do is they'd just post that joke without the above comment. So it made it sound like 10 times worse than it actually was. And like you say, like things change and people's perceptions change and all that kind of stuff. And he seems like a really good dude. And then James Gunn ended up getting fired, didn't he? Apparently Guardians of the Galaxy should have been out 2 weeks ago, in the third one.
Really?
if it had carried on the schedule and none of that stuff would have happened and he didn't get fired, then it would have been out. I think it was a couple of weeks ago that it should have been released, the third one, which is quite an interesting thing. But since then, James Gunn's been reinstated, hasn't he? So he's apologised. Everybody who knows him now knows that he's changed and knows that he's a lot more savvy with the social media type things. So even if he would tell a joke like that in private, he definitely wouldn't say it online to people that it would offend. And B, he probably wouldn't say like 90% of that stuff now. Hopefully it'll go the same way for this guy.
Yeah, you never know, because like I say, I enjoy the character he kind of plays, and I'm pretty sure, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure that just they'll probably just find someone else to fill the role.
Yeah.
And move on with the show, which they should do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you kind of because you get so used to seeing a character in something, it won't feel the same. It's like if in one of the big shows that's been out, anything like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad, and they changed one of the top characters from that because of, if they took someone out of even newer stuff or what have you, and took someone out and brought them after years of watching this dude play that part, it's just it's all a bit weird. I mean, I don't know if you've seen all the stuff that like things like Netflix are doing, where they're just going through their whole back catalogue and just taking out anything that's offensive to race, color, whatever it is, anything that's offensive, they're just going and getting rid of it straight away. So it's going.
Yeah. Didn't they drop Little Britain off the other day?
Yeah. And they've dropped Little Britain off, and I think there's been a big thing about that, because people are like, well, hold on a minute, this is how can you get away with doing something like that when there's white chicks?
Yeah.
They're looking at it a different angle and going, it's two black dudes putting
whited up,
or whited up. Is that not the same thing? You know what I mean? And it's a bit. I think Ant and Dec came out with an apology today because they've dressed up as black dudes in the characters in the past, for sketch scenes and stuff like that, and they've had to apologise, and whoever ITV or whatever, they've got rid of them from the archives, so you can no longer go and watch and find any of their old sketches that they've done stuff like that. And it's just
Keith Lemon did the same thing, didn't he, about Bo Selector, about the black characters that he did. Bo Selector was just like a caricature show, wasn't it, where everybody was big and ridiculous and larger than life. And it got me thinking, like, because he got really emotional about it. He got really, really sad. I don't think it was anything to do with like a TV company giving him shit or anything like that. He was just like, he's seen what's going on now in the climate, and he obviously felt like personally responsible for adding to like the culture of racism and stuff. So I was thinking back, I was trying to think back about like the black characters that he did. So he did Michael Jackson, which was like, he did Michael Jackson at like his Thriller point, which was where So he was basically wearing the Thriller red costume. I don't think he blacked his face up, did he, for that one? But then he did Craig David, which didn't really touch on race or anything along those lines. It was more about taking a piss out of him for being from Yorkshire, wasn't it? Because he always had Kess. The only really dodgy one that he did was, remember where he used to do Trisha? And he used to do like the Jamaican accent and be going on about rice and peas all the time. And he was like, that one was real bad. But besides that, I don't think he had anything else to apologise for, apart from the Trisha one. The Trisha one was fucking dodge.
I think.
Well, he did Mel B.
He did Mel B. But I think you're right. Either way that you look at it, it doesn't matter if it was in the stuff like this was in the early 2000s or even there's been stuff before then with, I'm pretty sure, allergies and stuff. And and you're right. It don't matter what time frame it's in. It was still wrong then.
Yeah.
And people only realizing that now, and that's quite it is quite mad when you do look back at it and you go, because we laughed along to these kind of things. You look back and go, holy crap, that really is quite bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really, really
No
close
one,
to home.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one actually it's flagged it up. It's weird how your point of view does change as you get older, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The more stuff you experience. The interesting thing I think that pointed out for me was it Goodness Gracious Me? Do you ever remember that show, which was like the full Indian cast? Like,
Yeah, that's right.
they were doing a sketch show, weren't they? Now, the premise of their sketch show was they took the piss out of white people who had been taking the piss out of Indian and Pakistani people, which was really, really like mad and meta, and really like highlighted how racist white people have been for years and years. And this was like the late 90s, wasn't it? I think early 2000s when this came out. I remember there was a great scene where they were all sat down, where they'd gone for an English, and they were sat in a bunch of Indian people all sat in an English restaurant ordering the blandest things on the menu, and they were like saying, "I don't want to taste anything," which was absolutely brilliant. But that, like, when you watch that now and you actually get what they were trying to do with it, that was a really genius way of pointing out the way that, like, everybody was so prejudiced towards them in the country at the time. So, like you said, hopefully things will start to change and get better now. We shall see.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, yeah, definitely.
I just hope some good things like don't get swept up with it. Like a big one that's always brought up is Tropic Thunder, because obviously Robert Downey Jr. blacks up for that entire movie. But the whole premise is that it's wrong to do that. It's just that his character, who is an actor, thought that it was acceptable. And it's brilliant. The way that they do it, the way that they handle it is absolutely brilliant. There's even like a line in the movie that's like, there's one good part in this movie for a black man, and he gave it to Crocodile Dundee, which is just absolute genius. So as long as like stuff like that that does things in the right way to highlight it isn't flagged up in the same way as like something that's doing things that is now overtly racist, then I think we'll be okay. But I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. All of this, everything to do with this situation is going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Just fingers crossed we can just plow through it, and it does actually make a difference this time. Amazing. Right, so last piece of news that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this last week, but obviously, like, we got into a load of stuff at the beginning, and it was ended up being quite a long show. It's about Ryan Gosling. Okay, he's about to do a Wolfman monster movie for Universal Pictures. So basically, he's playing a werewolf, and it is meant to be part of a universe that Universal are trying to set up. Universal are trying to set up, which is like all of these classic monster movie villains. So I think there's a plan to do a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's Tom Cruise's The Mummy film is part of this universe as well. And The Invisible Man that has just been out is a part of this film as well. So what I think they're doing is they're building everything up, and they're going to start doing crossovers or just one big crossover with all these different monster, like classic monster features in. Is that something that would interest you at all?
Yeah, I you know what? I actually love these kind of things. I used to watch the old, imagine they're probably 60s or 70s films that have things like, you know, your vampires and your wolves and your that kind of stuff. And you know, you know what? It's weird that I actually do enjoy that these kind of stuff, and it'd be quite interesting to see. Yeah, like a newer version of, you know, what you kind of can do, you know, in terms of technology. Yeah. Because when you watch these really old ones, you know, some of the stuff's just hilarious, but the idea of it, of these people turning into a wolf or whatever it is, I'm really up for that.
Yeah, some of the changing sequences have a bit to be desired, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like one of the best ones is, I think it's American Werewolf in Paris. When he first changes into a werewolf, it's amazing. I think it took him about 3 days to film it, because there's like bits where it's just the actor's torso, and then it's all like a model where all these bones are cracking and everything's going. And the whole scene takes about 5 minutes to go through. I think this big like dramatic change from man to wolf. And it's incredible. But like you say, some of them are just pretty difficult to watch. But I think that adds to it a little bit in some ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, do you know, you're probably right. Actually, it does probably add to it a little bit, but you, especially if you remember that what they had to work with, and like you said, if it's taken 3 days,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what kind of budget these
Yeah, that's it.
films have. You know what I mean? So
they'd film like 30 seconds of him in one pose going, ah, and then they'd change something up, do a hell of a lot more makeup on him, replace a load with a thingy, and then he'd carry on from the same position. And then they'd just keep going back and cutting it in like that. It's genius. It's a really good changing sequence.
Why does it always have to look painful?
Yeah, that's it. The original
it's...
idea was that it was a curse, wasn't it? The vampire, the werewolf,
right.
especially. And obviously, like all the bones are breaking and snapping and twisting into different positions and things like that. So like that was the whole idea of it. And then obviously there's the added bit of like they're not supposed to recognize any of the friends and they'll just kill anybody at will and all of that. All of this kind of mythos has been changed, hasn't it, in like recent years? So like films like Underworld and stuff, where they all know who they're fighting for and know who they're fighting against, and it's a big battle of good and evil. Well, evil and evil because it's vampires versus werewolves, but
that's right. Yeah.
Do you think werewolves is going to be the big new monster craze? Because it was vampires, wasn't it? And then it's gone on to zombies, which is still kind of there a little bit, but that seems to be dying off now. We don't seem to have anything. I think the next one's going to be werewolves.
I think it'll always kind of go in circles, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's always a market for werewolves or vampires, and you know, I agree that the whole mummy thing might, you know, there's only so much imagination for someone wrapping some toilet roll around their head.
There is, yeah. This is like, so the Tom Cruise one is related to the 2 original ones, 3 original ones, sorry, that were like, so they were set in like the early 1900s, and then obviously the Tom Cruise one was set in modern day, and all 3 of those are supposed to be connected. But yeah, like you said, there's only so much that you can do. Like with like someone wakes up a mummy, that mummy tries to destroy the earth, they stop that mummy from destroying the earth, and then the next time someone wakes up a mummy, that mummy tries to destroy the earth, and then they stop that mummy from destroying the earth, and then in the next one, and it just keeps going on exactly the same, doesn't it? So
yeah, but I think the problem is that how is it going to, like, you've got a character like Wolverine who isn't a full wolf or anything, but now it starts to become confusing because he has strength and what have you, you imagine is a wolf. Now, are people going to get confused of what they want? Do they want to see a full-grown wolf, or do they want to see versions of that?
Yeah,
different types of versions of Wolverine.
That's gonna be pretty interesting, that, because it's like so when we mentioned Underworld before, they actually turned into like full wolves, didn't they? So they were running on all 4 legs and just looked like a massive fucking dog. In some of the old school monster movies, he was always like half man, half wolf, wasn't he? So he like had a wolf's head and a big ripped hairy body, but then like stood and walked up on 2 legs and shit like that with big claws. I think that is probably the way that they're going to go with this new one, like back to the kind of old school classic type werewolf, where he's walking up on 2 legs with a big wolfy face. But yeah, like you say, it is going to get confusing if we do a bit too much of it, because no one owns that. That's the trouble. So like with Wolverine, there's only now one company that can do anything with Wolverine, and that's Disney and Marvel. But when it comes to things like werewolves and vampires and mummies and things like that, there's no copyright on them. So nobody owns those characters. So basically anybody can do whatever they want with those characters. So you'll get films here, there and everywhere that don't relate, that are completely different from everything. But yeah, we shall see. They're having another go here. Sorry?
What's the thing in your favourite film, Twilight? They will.
If I could slap you through the internet, then it would be a really good one. I think so, yeah. I'm not sure. I think I watched the first 2 of Twilight and then kind of gave up. when I found out, somebody told me who read the books. He said apparently like she gets pregnant in it, and then the werewolf puts like some kind of scent trace on the baby, which means that they're destined to be together when that baby grows up. I was like, that's a fucking mess. I'm not going anywhere near that now. That's just awful. That's maybe the worst thing I've ever heard. These are like teenagers' books, and they think that that's acceptable. Bagsy your baby for when it's a bit older. No, I'm not having that.
Bagsy.
That'd have been a mint version of it though. Bagsy that kid. Oh no. Oh, see, look. Oh, even saying it makes me go all fucking shivery and angry. Oh, that's gross. But yeah, so I think that's vampires versus werewolves, isn't it? But like half of them are in love, and I don't really know what happens in it. But I do know that the wolves in that do turn into like full wolves, like big dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
So no one's really done
visually
like
it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
To be the full wolf.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, like you said, I think we've thrown out a few ways that they could actually do it. It'd be interesting to see which kind of way that they do follow, because.
Well, with it being called Wolfman, I mean, I'm imagining they're going to do like the half and half thing. So it's going to be like half.
I think they'll probably end up doing half and half.
I hope so, anyway. I'll be looking forward to it. I like Ryan Gosling as well. He seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ugly swat, but he seems alright. Well, yeah, so like I say, so this is part of the Universal's monster universe that they're doing, which should be really, really interesting if they get everybody to come together. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're planning it or anything along those lines. I imagine, like everything, there'll be like an agency that hunts supernatural monsters and something like that, and they'll all come in together because they're all hunting the same thing, or they've got to work together to save the world or some shit. It'll be interesting to watch it all unfold anyway. I don't know whether they're going to call Tom Cruise back for later movies. Him and Ryan Gosling in a movie, Jesus Christ. It's gross. I won't be able to go and watch it, my eyes. Right, so yeah, that's about it for the news for this week. On to the movie of the week for this week, which was a nice classic comedy one, chosen by Gary. Yeah, which was Dude, Where's My Car? Did you manage to get it in again? Did you manage to rewatch it?
I managed to get it in again. Yeah, because I was kind of interested to see where I was humour level. and do you know what? On our Facebook page and Instagram page, we've been running the movie thing that we've been doing.
Yes.
And I chose this film as the one that makes me laugh. And I could have chose any one of like the Ace Venturas and like kind of like I could have chose like loads of. There's so many films that I could have chose, and I chose this one, and the reason being because it's just one of them daft films. It just makes me belly laugh.
Yeah.
There's so many more, like there's so much more better comedy films than this. But this one just, I don't know what it is about it. The stupidity of it just makes me belly laugh. And the like the duo of Ashton Kutcher and Sean William Scott is so damn perfect.
Yeah.
I think they're utterly perfect in it. I think I was reading up before and it got slammed, but in the movies it actually made a ton of money.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people went to see it just because those two were in it, didn't they? So
yeah, because them two were in it, and
I think they were pretty much at the height of their fame then as well, weren't they? The pair of them.
Oh, yeah, they were, and I don't think you realise how actually funny Ashton. If you don't see too much of Ashton Kutcher, I don't think you realise how frigging funny he is.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Jim Carrey's probably the greatest comedy actor of our time, of stuff that he's done. But Ashton Kutcher, at that point, was genius, and it worked. It worked perfectly alongside Sean William Scott. And you forget how mental the film is.
Yeah, it's just bonkers. It's right out of like left field.
Yeah, completely. Everything. You just go. It's because when I watched it back, I forgot half of the stuff that went on. And I've watched this film. I watched this film a lot, and I forget there's so many stuff in it that I couldn't even pick out one part that's my favorite part in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's just utterly mental. So like, for those that don't know, they kind of have a mad night, don't they?
Yeah,
and
it's kind of like The Hangover, isn't it? It's like a Hangover.
Yeah, and they get of course, The Hangover's definitely took pinched this and made it more adult-like. And the so they're absolutely mental night, get absolutely wasted, and they wake up and they can't find the car. Hence the Dude, Where's My Car title. And they kind of just trace the footsteps back, don't they, and try and work out and find clues
where he's left
to what's going on. But there's so much more madness. There's moments where they're going to strippers, don't they? And they're like, well, we could have gone into the strippers, and every single girl that's in there knows them.
It's so good.
It's moments like that is pure genius.
Yeah, just like really little things. Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant movie, isn't it? And it just goes wild, like because people are trying to kill him all the way through, and different people are searching for him, and everybody's searching eventually for this car, aren't they? Because they want to find something, and like it's really, really subtle as well when they actually do find it at the end, because he's playing with the Rubik's Cube all the way through, and at the end he just goes, click, hey, I got it.
It's perfectly done in that way, but isn't there just about 4 or 5 different stories that's kind of going on in this film?
Yeah, there is,
because you've got the group of girls that are after him for what is the actual thing that they've been looking for now?
Continuum transfunctioner, I think it's called.
Yeah, and it's got power, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And so there's a group of girls that are all after it, and there's so many great scenes. And there's one where they go into a field, and there's a blind lad there, and he's like, you realise that they explained that they're extremely hot chicks, and so he says, "Well, can I feel your face so I can, see if you actually are extremely hot chicks?" And he starts feeling the face, and then he goes down and starts feeling the tits, don't he? And they're like, is this normal in this country? And he's like, yeah. And it's little parts, it's so utterly genius. I've never, do you know what I was kind of thinking today? There's only one other film that has a brilliant duo, and from start to finish, it's joke after joke after joke after joke, and pull it off perfectly. And it's Step Brothers.
Yeah. I actually watched that the other night. Yeah, it's good. That still holds up quite a bit.
You don't catch your breath when you're watching it because there's that many little moments and jokes through it. Like I was, the reason I thought of this film is because the whole dude and sweet part popped into my head, where they've got tattoos.
The tattoos.
And like, one's dude and one's sweet.
It's just genius. Like this, for me, is like another film that if they'd got it like a little bit wrong, it could have just been really annoying. So like we were saying about Bill and Ted before, they're basically like the average stoner characters, aren't they? They're just stupid and go out and get leathered one night and then forget everything they've done on that night. So I'll have to retrace the steps in the stupidest ways possible. But it's just absolutely ridiculous. It could have been really, really annoying, but it isn't. It's really, really funny. And like you said, there's a lot of really good belly laughs in it. Ashton Kutcher for me can be quite hit and miss. He annoys the piss out of me in some stuff that he does. I think he overdoes it sometimes, and he can be really annoying. In that film, he's not. I think it's because like Sean William Scott is that he's got like a really relaxed type of humor, doesn't he? Even when he's doing like the maddest shit in American Pie, his character always seems to take it in its stride. And it's that like kind of nice chilled out. He seems to level Ashton Kutcher off and take him like down a couple of notches for me.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. The pair of them just work so well.
Yeah, it's the whole. It's the way they play the characters so dumb as well.
Yeah.
Like it and like you say, I think Sean William Scott is utterly brilliant at doing that, at playing a bit of a stupid dude.
Yeah, a bit stupid, but not annoying with it. Because like he's done that in about 4 different films. So Evolution, he's that character again. That where he's pretty stupid. He's trying to be a fireman and that, and he just won't take him at all. But he's a bit stupid, but he's really endearing in it, and he's there's a bit in it where he starts singing to try and attract the monster's attention. Yeah. And it's just absolutely fucking hilarious. Yeah, and it's tucky. Yeah, it's absolutely genius. And then obviously in American Pie, Stifler, gradually it just gets like dumber and dumber and more extreme as the movies go on, doesn't he? Every single one that he's in, he seems to be getting more and more Stifler as it is. But still he manages to pull it off and rein it in a little bit.
Yeah, it like you say, it just counterbalances perfectly. Absolutely perfect. There's points in the film that make no sense, but because the way they've done it and the way that they can both just pull it off, it's just brilliant. I was like, it was just cracking me up. The little bits in it crack me up where the dude and the hot chick pull up next to them in the cars, and they're trying to be cool, aren't they, in their car, and they're just copying what the dude and the hot chick does.
They're getting off one another.
Yeah. So what happens is the dude and the hot chick, he revs his engine, so they rev their engine. So the dude puts his arm around the girl, so one of the guys put their arm around the other dude. So the other guy in the car with the hot girl starts snogging her, don't he? So they just kind of give each other the nod and just start snogging each other. And it's that kind of dumbness that kind of goes through it, that kind of runs through this film. That just, I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't find this kind of stuff funny. Like becoming, the film was out in 2000, so it's 20 years old.
Oof, Jesus Christ, I didn't realise it was that.
Yeah, and I think it was 2000 or 2001. And so it's basically 20 years old. And I really did find a lot of the stuff that when at 15 years old, 16 years old, I really found still funny. And that's the one thing when I watch these kind of films back, I really worry about, and that's why I kind of chose it.
Yeah.
Like just before, so I've watched the film, and then just before we started filming, all right, another refresher, Gary. And what I did is watch the trailer, some clips again, just to make sure I've got everything down.
Yeah.
And there's like, I was even pissing aside at that, because there's a moment, we've not even talked about the group of guys that are on the barnyard, and they're all got follow a leader called Zoltan, and every time they say his name, Zoltan, and they're in bubble wrap space suits.
That bit kills me. The bit with the bubble wrap, I can't. That's like you say, big belly laughs during that point. No matter how many times I've watched it, I can't breathe during that point. Just like the fact that he just keeps reaching over and going pop, and just popping the guy's bubble wrap suit next to him. It's just all the way to pop, 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 and they're doing it on themselves. It's just, that bit is done so well. It makes me absolutely piss me sides all the way through it.
Yeah, it's truly brilliant. Honestly, was so glad I've chose it because it's brought back so many memories of just watching dumb, stupid films that
Yeah, that's it.
that people forget about are absolutely genius.
Yeah.
And the whole film was done so well. I really enjoy it. There's they even do a bit of singing and rapping in it and stuff like that, haven't they? In Adidas tracksuits, haven't they? And they're throwing money around and stuff. It's and it's like, how does this kind of stuff relate to the actual film? But it just works.
Yeah, it just pops up in there out of nowhere. So good.
Yeah,
so good. Yeah, definitely give it a look if you've not seen Dude, Where's My Car yet. It's definitely worth a watch. Like you say, though, me and you are big laughers, though, aren't we? We'll laugh at pretty much everything. 90% of our time spent together when it's just the pair of us. It's just us giggling at the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
But this one still works. It's still a great film.
Yeah, it really is. It like they said, I think real fans of that kind of stuff would get it perfectly. And I think there's a guy that commented on, and he went, I'll have to watch it, and I just thought, yeah, honestly, if you,
I think it was Scott, wasn't it? Scott popped up and said that he's not seen that one yet.
And I just thought, go and find yourself a copy of this damn film and just go and watch it. Because if you're at a certain age and you haven't watched it, you've done something wrong with your life.
Brilliant. Oh, mega. Right. So score out of 5 for Dude, Where's My Car?
It's 5 for me, dude.
Is it really? Yeah,
5 all the way.
I've gone for a 4 for Dude, Where's My Car? I think that might have edged it into the lead, 5 and a 4. That's quite an interesting one. So yeah. We'll add that to the lead, and then we'll go from there. Okie doke. So for this week, my turn to choose a film of the week, and I was thinking, like, we've been talking quite a lot about the fact that we've been doing new films, so going back a little bit and checking out some other cool stuff. And then I was thinking about, like, when we were first talking about putting this together, the whole idea was that, like, I was the nerdy film geek, you were the guy that was into films and was into, like, learning a little bit more about them. So I was trying to think of some movies that are really, really good, but are a little bit out there and a little bit different. So I've chosen 2. So I've already chosen this one, and then for my next one, which is not next week, but the week after. So this first one is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Have you ever seen that one?
I've never heard of it.
Have you not? It's I won't do any spoilers for you or anything like that. I think you'll really fucking enjoy it. It's quite out there. It's quite fucking mental. But yeah, it's definitely worth a look. I'm pretty sure it's James Gunn, the Guardians of the Galaxy James Gunn.
Yeah.
So I think it is. I'm going to have a look for next week if not. But yeah, give that a watch. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. It's quite different. It's not like arseholey or anything like that. I'm not pretentious or anything.
Right, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna switch it up for my turn then, Jane. I'm gonna do full on chick flick for you.
Love it. I love a chick flick, mate. Especially if I'm on my own in a. Right. Then in that case, I think that pretty much wraps us up for this week. So thanks for watching or listening. Again, if you want to give us a subscribe on YouTube or on iTunes, if you just want to listen to the podcast, you can also get us on SoundCloud, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Facebook is where most of the stuff takes place. You just search the Movie Garage in any of those, and you should be able to find us. Exactly the same logo everywhere. So thanks for listening. Thanks a lot, Gaza.
Yeah, cheers, Jay. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, no problem. I'll see you soon, mate.
See you soon, dude.
Mate.